guys, welcome back to Life with Janos. We are blessed. We know you are too. My name is Angie if you are new to the channel, and welcome. So I am starting a new series that I'm going to call Trust God series. And it is just going to be basically encouragement, growing a stronger relationship with God, my journey with my relationship with God and growing, and all the blessings and going through everyday life challenges, but still trying to remain righteous, do the right things, be in right standing with the Lord. So this series is just going to be about full transparency. I'm going to tell you guys everything. Okay, child? Everything. Just because I believe that having transparency, you get to see yourself, you get to see yourself, and hopefully all these videos that I am able to upload will encourage you, inspire you, allow you to see someone like yourself and just know that you aren't the only one, So with that being said, we're going to kick off the Trust God series today with a small testimony of mine. When I officially decided to move to Texas, and how God changed my life completely, but also, the journey, the ups and the downs, the roads in the way that we cross, So with that being said, let's get right into it. I will be drinking some water, okay? So if you see this little container, y'all know what I be saying. Don't judge, okay? I need to stay hydrated. But with that being said, episode 1 of Trust God series. So I was 24 years old when I decided to move to Texas. It was in the middle of the pandemic, literally in the middle of the pandemic. So my friend at the time, I told that person, like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and move to Texas. And we had a great relationship, and he decided to come along with me. He was like my best friend. He decided to come along with me, and, we decided, okay, we're going to do this. I had made up my mind, of course, you pray on things, you ask God for guidance, and you get the answer, whether it's a yes or no. And they always say if the process is smooth, then God had his hands on it. If it's difficult, or you constantly struggling, then maybe that's just our will that we're trying to do for ourselves, instead of actually listening to what God says. But fast forwarding that part, we flew in the middle of in the COVID down to the dealership. And, we had been talking to this person online that worked at the dealership, because I was in car sales. I've been in car sales since I was 18 years old. So we had talked to that person at the dealership over the phone, never meeting them or anything. And they were like, yeah, we're hiring, come on down. When are you guys planning to come down to interview? So, we told them COVID had pushed some things back. So then finally came time for us to fly in. We flew in over the weekend to this dealership that we wanted to work for. It was the biggest dealership in Austin, Texas. So we flew in, went there. No one had any idea who we were. And the funniest thing about that is, at the time, Joseph was actually the person who greeted us, and we were supposed to meet with a whole other person. His name was Jacob. So Jacob, if you're out there, you tricked us. We never even saw you, didn't even know who you were, okay? But thank you, because I ended up in Texas. But so we talked to Joseph, and we're telling him, like, hey, we've been talking to this guy named Jacob. He told us to come down. We're from Maryland. We're here to interview, to move down here and work for this company. So of course, he goes and he talks to whoever he needs to talk to, and then we end up interviewing with the managers. And then, of course, they hire us, right? But then they're like, when are you guys planning to start? So I think we told them May, right? So they're like, okay, sounds good, whatever, you guys are hired, okay? So long story short, backstory to that actually is, now knowing Joseph, he tells me that no one knew this Jacob person. They weren't even hiring at the time, because they had just let people go because of COVID. And on top of that, they were just like, I don't know how we're going to hire people. And, they live out of town, but they flew all the way here just to interview for us. So they end up hiring us, right? Kind of off of like, I wouldn't say pity, but like, dang, these people flew all the way here to interview and we're not even hiring, but we got hired anyway. God's grace. So then fast forward through COVID, you know, we flew back home, everything is fine, and then we get ready to move. We talk to the HR person, stuff starts flowing perfectly. You know, we talk to the HR person, we you know, keep in contact with the person that we need to keep in contact with, and then the moving day is there, you know. And I will do a backstory on, you know, moving out of state, right? Because it is very hard. It's not an easy task to uproot your life and move out of state. So I will do a video on that, probably like a short video of how I organized everything, how I set things into play, because that's a whole nother video in itself. But so I end up, you know, getting everything together for us, and we moved May 2020. Yeah, May 2020. So next month will be officially 3 years here in Texas. I'm happy about that. But so May 2020, you know, I moved to Texas. We had our apartment. It was beautiful. It was nice. Even with COVID and our job, we still had back there, we had enough funds to save up, and, you know, we had everything ready to go when we moved. So we moved in, we got, you know, all the necessities that you need, you know, your phone, all that stuff set up, furnished apartment, everything just moved smoothly, you know. And again, that attests to God's grace. When you pray to him, ask him for guidance, you know, and the process should be smooth. You know, it's not saying that it's, you know, bumps in the road. No, it's crystal clear, because of course you have, you know, people in your life out of love that are fearful, and they will tell you like, why are you doing this? That's too far. It's COVID. All those things happen to me, you know, and again, it's out of love and people caring for you. And then sometimes it's out of their own fear that they project to you, saying like, you shouldn't do that. You know, you're 24, you're young. But thankfully, I had people in my life who support me to no end. My mom, my dad, my best friend, my god sister, like those people support me, you know, till no end, and they know who I am as a person. So, that was very helpful. But most importantly, leaning on God and fully trusting him, you know, trusting him to, hey, I'm doing this, Lord. I prayed on it. I'm pretty sure your answer was a yes, so I'm gonna go, you know. And then that's what happens. You get blessings, you know. So when we got there, again, everything was smooth. It was good. We started at the new job, and from there is where like I could see God's glory and favor on my life, because I have been in sales since 2018, you know, been in sales as a sales professional, selling cars. And excuse me, guys, pause for the cause. Woo! Okay. I had been in sales, and then once I moved to Texas, I sat down, I prayed, and, you know, I asked God, please guide me, you know, guide me while I'm here, Lord. I made this decision. I'm asking you to guide each and every step that I take. You know, I only want whatever you have for me, not what I want for myself, but what you have for me. So we get there, automatically we are told that we're going to be in the internet department, which is supposed to be like the elite department of the sales team. So we get there and we're asked to go in the internet department. When we got there, it's just two different parts of the dealership. You have regular sales, you have internet sales, you have new and pre-owned sales, right? So we got to the internet, which is the elite, right? It's supposed to be. So we got in there that first day, I remember, and we were like, no, because, you know, it's all different type of personalities, and it's very open. It's not like the sales floor. It's really quiet. Everybody's just doing their job, doing their own thing. In the internet, it's like this, think of a call center. But instead of it being a call center, your job is to focus on all the internet leads that come in for the dealership and, give top-notch customer service. But the environment is really closed in. So it was, when we got there, it was just kind of chaos, kind of chaotic. And I was not used to that. I'm just like, I'm used to having my little office, organizing everything how I like it. And then it's just me, and I go out and I do my job every day. But now being in this environment where there's a bunch of people, a bunch of different personalities, it's loud over here, it's craziness going on over here. So it was just like, no, I'm okay. Right? So then we end up telling the owner at the time, who favored us as well. I mean, we're talking about one of the owners, the GM at the time, who favored us as soon as we got there. We end up telling them, like, I don't think the internet is for us. I'm okay being on the sales floor. So we went to the sales floor for maybe a couple months. And then after that, they go and revamp the whole internet room, long story short. And the GM at the time comes and asks me, like, please, can you go back to the internet? We need your type of presence in the internet room. And even then I'm thinking, I just got here. I mean, I work hard, and I state to myself, my goal is just to work hard here so I can reach my goals. But I just got here. I'm like, wow, little old me, And he's like, yes, I need you to go into the internet room. And if there's anything you don't like, you let me know. But I need you to be a part of that team. I'm like, okay. So I go home, I thank God for favor for that. I'm like, wow, I just moved here. I just got to this place, but already, God, you've shown me favor. So thank you for that, because there's a reason for every single thing, So fast forward to, months and months go by, doing very well in that room, selling a bunch of cars, really, really growing clientele in Texas, because it's a new place. And then I remember one specific day, and this time when I moved to Texas, I wasn't going to a church because I couldn't find a church that was good. I tried a couple churches, right? And I know that sounds crazy, like you just went church hopping, but I didn't. I just tried a couple. And at that time, now that I've grown well in my faith and understanding, at that time, I was 24. I'm 26 now, about to be 27. But I was like, I'm not feeling this. You go to a church and you look for certain things because our human nature is to be comfortable. So I'm like, I'm not really feeling this. I don't know about this, because I grew up Baptist. There's praise and worship, a lot of praise and worship. The preacher's preaching, and then, you feel the spirit. Everybody feels the spirit. And then I went to a couple, and it was just like quietness, barely any singing. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel anything with this. So then I started to watch TD Jakes, and it became my Sunday service, right? So instead of physically going into a church building, I watched TD Jakes at 9:00 every Sunday morning, turned on my TV. I would get my book, my notes, everything. So I'm there. So that turned into my church. And I remember one day praying because I think I had heard he was preaching a sermon about, comfortability and stepping out of your comfort zone, and fully trusting God. And that hit me when he said fully trusting God. So I was like, praying like, Lord, what aspects of my life am I not fully trusting you? And right now I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm super grateful for everything that's happening. But what areas of my life am I trying to control? And at that point in time, I wasn't worried about a relationship because I was in a long distance relationship, so that in itself was a whole nother story. That in itself was a whole nother thing, being in a long distance relationship. So that was hard, but that was one of the things I just prayed on. So I was just thinking, like, what aspects am I trying to control, and I prayed and prayed and prayed on it. And I'm like, Lord, At this point, I am just going to surrender my life to you. No matter what happens, no matter what it is, what you want me to do, open arms. Here's my life. You got it. Take it. I don't control anything. When I said that prayer that day, you guys, I will never forget it. I was crying. I had just watched a sermon. I was like praying and crying and telling the Lord, I fully trust you. Take over my life. I surrender everything to you. And I remember feeling so free, but also feeling a protection, a protection from God. And that day, I would say, definitely was my turning point. You know, everybody has a turning point in their faith journey, or, you know, in their life. So that was my turning point when I surrendered everything to God, and I asked him to please take over. Whatever your will is for me, that's what I want. I'm no longer in control. And from that day, it was like God just poured into me. He just poured into me so great, so big, and so great. I'll just list them off because, you know, it's stories in between stories, but I'll list them off. From that, I got promoted to a floor manager, which is like the next level of a salesperson. And I may say very fast, these things happen. Promoted to a floor manager. I brought my dream car at the time, which I remember telling myself, I'm gonna get that car one day, you know? And even though that's a material thing, it's still the aspect of trusting and knowing that God favors his, you know? God favors his children, especially when you do trust, you do surrender to him, and you try your best to do the right things. So anyway, I got my dream car. I was 25 at the time, driving a brand new Audi car, and I could not believe it, but it was God, you know, me knowing. So I got promoted, bought my dream car, no debt, and what else? Trying to think. Grew great friendships with people still to this day that I love tremendously. And I was just, you know, living a really good, happy, blessed life, you know? And another part of that, which I think plays an account, is I also used to watch Mike Todd. He's also a pastor for Transformation Church that's on YouTube. And I remember this specific series, and he was talking about bamboo season. And it's like a bamboo tree. You know, you water it a little bit, you plant it, and all of a sudden you look up and boom, it springs. You know, it's just growing. And he was saying how if you fully trust God, if you fully, you know, put your all into him and allow him to take over and let him be the head of your life, it's like bamboo season. You will take off. And I kept remembering every time something happened, I'm like, yes, God, I'm in my bamboo season. I thank you, Lord, for this bamboo season, because everything was happening so fast for me, but it was also blessings, okay? Now, keep in mind, there was some pain and heartache along that journey, because when God takes over, some things he has to remove and some people he has to remove from your life. So that's a whole nother video, which, you know, I'll try to do that one as well. But at the time, you know, my longest relationship that ended, it was very difficult. It was extremely hard. I was in that relationship for almost 4 years, if not 4 years. And that was hard. That was rough, because that person was all I knew, you know? But during that time of my bamboo season, you know, he also favored me in the areas and the aspects of my life that I prayed for. And sometimes it hurts. It hurts when God is blessing you and going through your journey, because we want to hold on to stuff that is not meant for us to be in our life forever, you know? So sometimes things are meant for a season, just to teach you and to grow you and, you know, to mold you for your next blessing. That doesn't mean that that person or that thing is supposed to be there with you every step of the way. Same thing about friends and jobs, you know, it's the same concept. So even though at the time I was hurt, looking back at it now, I'm like, man, that helped me be the woman I am today. That helped me grow. So we always question God, and as humans, it's in our nature. Even though we're not supposed to, we do. But then at the end of it, once we get through the storm, you know, we look back and we're like, thank you, Lord. Thank you for that. So anyway, I don't want to derail, but so I was going through my bamboo season and all these great things were happening for me, and I just could not thank him enough. I felt grateful. You know, my mom would call, my dad would call, check on me, and I'm happy. I'm living my best life, child. Okay, they would call them like, I'm doing great. You know, everything is good. And I remember I had my mom come down for Christmas and she enjoyed it. And my dad also, he came down, and, you know, we did a bunch of stuff every day, horseback riding. We went to a really nice fancy restaurant. Like, I just got to show them blessings of the life I lived, you know, the life I created for myself when I decided to move to Texas and trust God, you know, and that was my goal. I didn't decide to move to Texas just to leave Baltimore, Maryland. You know, I didn't decide just to get away. I wanted to move to Texas to start a life for myself, to start growing, to start reaching goals for myself. And I moved, and God helped me and favored me, and I never will regret it. I can't even imagine a day that I regret it. And even right now, with everything happening in my life, it's still nothing but blessings, nothing but blessings. So I'll cut this one short because there's so much I'm going to talk to you guys about. But the moral to this one is just fully trusting him and surrendering your life to him. And I promise you guys, if y'all don't get nothing else from this video, just surrender to him, give it to him, let him take full control, allow the Holy Spirit to, you know, rule over your life, and you will not regret it. It is not easy. It's not like, you know, sparkles and rainbows, because that's not life of this earth, you know, but it is. I can't imagine what I would have turned out or what I would have done had I not. You know, I would have been doing my own thing, trying to do things my own way, figuring it out, and I probably would have went through a lot. But thankfully, trusting in God and, you know, giving your life to him is beautiful, because he takes control of it. And, you know, you imagine things, you pray for things, but he gives it to you 10 times better than you could even think of, you know? And I think that's the part that I'm grateful for. Everything that I have today, everything that I have accomplished, it's all glory to God. It's all glory to him, because without him, I don't know if I would have any of these things. I don't know if I would have accomplished any of these things. So, you know, that's just the blessings in itself. So that is part one to it. I'll try my best to do part two faithfully. I'm going to try to upload once a week. Okay, guys? So once a week, I'm going to try to upload to the Trust God series. But this is part one of Trusting God. So hope you guys are encouraged and be blessed. Spread love, spread positivity, joy, and just remember, and even if you are starting out or don't really have a relationship with God, it's okay, right? He wants you to talk to him. So just talk with him and tell him like, hey, God, you know, what's up? I don't really know you like that. I'm willing to know you, you know, and start little by little. He loves you already. So it's okay to just ask God, hey, I'm here, you know, I want to experience your glory. Help me. And that's it, you know. So do it your own way, your own terms. Don't feel any pressure. And I am here for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this series, and don't be judging, okay? Because we all go through things and different things. The difference is that I don't care about sharing mine because I know it's going to help somebody, okay? But love you guys. Talk to you guys soon, and I will do part 2 soon. All right, bye.